again. My name is Michael S Garner, and I write and draw my own online comic book called Visions of the New, which you can see at visionsofthenew.com. You get a PDF version there. You can read it online, blah, blah, blah. Now on to what I do. I basically review some comic book related TV shows and movies, and one of the ones I always do is the one I'm doing today, which is SuperGirl. And this is SuperGirl episode 311. Fort Rozz episode. Okay, here we go right into it. First of all, this episode, briefly, is about Supergirl having to go to Fort Rozz, which has been thrown out into space. That was thrown out into space in season 1, at the end of season 1. She picked the whole thing up, flew it up in the air, and threw it out into space. And we thought it was just gone. But apparently it's orbiting a blue star in another solar system. They have to go down there to find a priestess. This is kind of weird. They have to fly up there to find a priestess who will know more information about Reign, so they can understand more about Reign and possibly defeat her, or in Supergirl's case, turn her over to hopefully the good side. And so they go to find this priestess and everything like that, and she takes Saturn Girl with her. And one of the first things is the reason why she's taking Saturn Girl with her, and she also tries to take two villains, Livewire and Psy, is because of the blue star in the solar system. It's going to take away Supergirl's powers, first of all, but also males can't be there, which I found really funny. She said something about, oh, that's a Y chromosome. She sold that line. Saturn Girl, she really sold that line. She said, oh, the Y chromosome cannot exist here. I'm like, what? What? I kind of checked out on that one. I honestly did. I went, okay, all right, that's their reasoning for this. Okay. So to get the girls together and everything like that. I love that part, but I'm just like, why? It just, that was too funny. So yeah. Another thing I just want to mention, they said a blue star. In the comic books, we know the comic books, they're basically just the reference point for TV shows and movies now. So they don't go by them a lot. They just go by the foundation of them and then build off of that and whatever. A blue star in the comic books would affect a Kryptonian completely differently. It wouldn't take away their powers. And I just give the example of DC 1 Million back in the 90s, late 2000s, I believe. I remember reading that book. That was the first thing that came to my head. The Superman from a million years from now, that version, he was under a blue star, and it gave him incredible amounts of power. He didn't lose his power. He gained so many different powers. Like he could create images with his mind. He could move planets. He was immensely strong because he was under a blue star. And so them flipping it like that, I don't know the reason for it, but it was just the reason to get, the villains in. And then you get to see like where the villains are now, since Reign has been on the scene and basically killing everybody that has done something wrong. That's a villain. So that thing, I thought, like I said, funny to get all the girls together, and that was the reasoning for it. Also, now I may not be going in order right now, but there was one thing that they made stand out in the episode, where there's a scene where Psy and Saturn Girl, they both fall down or something like that, and Psy she projects her power onto Saturn Girl, which is kind of weird because Saturn Girl has telekinetics and everything like that, but she should have a little bit of mental power too. Different types of mental power to get into people's minds. But Psy, because apparently she's incredibly strong, she did take down a Martian Manhunter, and she took down Supergirl at the same time, back in a previous episode of this season. She projected her power onto Saturn Girl, and when she did that, my inkling was like, okay, she made her see something bad or something, whatever, like she always does, but did she somehow project some of herself into Saturn Girl? That would be kind of cool if that's the way that she breaks out of prison. Even though the ending was kind of a happy slapped-on ending of this episode, but it just seemed that way, like she put something in her, and we'll find out in a future episode. Also, I love the fact that the priestess on the planet, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, wait a second. That accent, I love that accent, but who is that? That sounds so familiar from my childhood. And I didn't realize that. I had to look it up. It's like the person who was playing the priestess was Sarah Douglas, who played the original, I always call her the original Fiora from Superman 2, but her name back then was Ursa. And I just love the fact that I really love the fact that the CW shows always find those people from the past movies or TV shows that have existed that connect to the universe that they're making. And they bring those actors back in, like Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher. Obviously, we know this and everything. Like Kevin Sorbo may not have been in that, but he was still a hero. He was He-Man. I'm sorry, He-Man. He was Hercules and everything like that. So it was cool to see Sarah Douglas there. I'm like, oh my God, what has she been doing? So who else? Rain, obviously, you know, when they showed the disciple and she stepped in front of Rain and she's like, oh, Rain, now we can take over the universe ourselves and become world killers and blah, blah, blah. And she stood directly in front of Rain as Rain was behind her. You know that Rain was going to kill her. So, you know, when she shot her with a blast, I'm like, okay, bye, Sarah Douglas. That was nice seeing you for a little while. I guess you won't be in this season. But it was nice to, like I said, it was really nice to see her. This brought me back to the old Superman 1980s, 70s things. Christopher Reeve days. Best days. Obviously, what else? I keep saying this. I love the way they made the Legion of Superheroes ship. And the fact that it was so fast that it went to that star system in like a minute. Love that ship. Love it. In every scene that it's in. Brainiac 5, making Finn feel obsolete when he came into the room, being like, oh, this is like a glorified coffee shop. I love that. But then, like, of course, you know, they have to get they make Brainiac feel a little bit stupid later in the end of the episode. But it was kind of cool to see the difference there and to see Brainiac 5 personality come out even more, his cockiness and everything. What else? This is the first time I felt for Livewire. When they even showed her at the diner and her name was Roseanne, she literally, you know, Roseanne from even the TV show. But her name was Roseanne. She was hiding out the diner because she knew that Rain was killing all these villains and to kill people that she knew that were villains. And they were friends of hers. I actually felt for her. I mean, when they cast the Livewire in the first season, I didn't like her. I mean, I loved it from the animated series where it originally came from, but I did not like the character of Livewire in SuperGirl. The very first season. There were some cool fight scenes and everything the first season, but I just didn't like her that much. And I thought the actress was just way too exaggerated, and I just didn't believe her. Second season, when they brought her in, and she wasn't even, they basically brought different people, like two people took over. I did a video about this. Two people took over her powers and drained it, and they became like Livewire. I liked her performance in that better. I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to believe you more. And in this episode, I really believed her. I mean, I really actually felt for her. Even though like her and the friendship between Kara was a little bit quick, I felt that I really felt for the character of Livewire. And of course, they made you feel that way so that, you know, what happens at the end. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, this is the very first time that I felt for Livewire, and I thought that they did a really good job of her personality and everything like that. And what else? Forgive me. I had a lot of notes on this and I tried to condense them down a little bit more. Whoever directed this episode, it just seemed, I didn't get to look that up yet. And I really do have to look that up. I felt that the direction on this episode was done really well. And it was done in a different way. I've so many Supergirl episodes and everything like that, CW episodes. This one felt a little bit different visually, in a good way. And, and just as, like I mentioned, we get to have a really good Livewire, she gets killed. I don't think that she's dead. I'm hoping that she's not dead. Because just the way that she died and how like there was essence coming off of her and everything like that, there was something weird going on there. I'm hoping that the character, and it would be stupid to waste her for future episodes and everything like that, because they've managed to do good stories with Livewire now from season 2 to this season 3. And what else? The fact that Sai got into Rain's mind and made her think of her daughter, it made me think so many different things about this story. The fact that she's worried about her daughter being taken away from her, that's her greatest fear and everything like that. I still feel like I don't really trust the daughter now. Like, does she have something to do with it? Is there some type of because they're making you care about them so much. It's like, what is going to be the end result of this when she finds out that her mother is Rain, killing the machine? And and the fact that she like has and now the mother actually has a little bit of a memory of something that's happened. Well, she knows that she has lapses in days. I really liked how she played that off, and I like how they did that. But I'm just like, now it's making me even think more further into what is Rain, and her connection with her daughter, if it's bigger than what we thought. Ooh, the priestess said that there would be 2 other people to help Rain: Purity and, oh God, what is it? Pestilence. So we're going some X-Men Apocalypse. DC came first. But we're going for that thing. If there are these 2 others, and oh God, I hope they're not Kryptonians, but it looks like they're going to be Kryptonians. I think that this person, the African-American girl who was in this episode at the very end, who was one of the priests, who was one of the disciples or whatever, it's either going to be Purity or Pestilence. I think that she's most likely going to be Purity, because obviously how she was talking to her friend as they're walking down the street, she was talking about everything being pure. You're a pure soul, you need to do this, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be Purity, most likely. And how she got smashed, and she had all this power, and she pushed the car away from her. God, I just wish they weren't Kryptonians. I just wish there was something else, some type of other alien race. But it just seems like they're all Kryptonians. Because we always got Kryptonians. She's fought so many damn Kryptonians. Lay off the Kryptonians. But it's cool. Another disciple, and I liked how that scene came about and everything like that. So that's basically my whole thing about those are the notes on my episode. And like I said, I tried to condense them down smaller so I don't have to like go on a tirade about this whole one episode. But I really think that they did a good job with this episode. I appreciated what they tried to do. Like I said, the whole arc with Livewire I thought was great, and even Sai to a certain extent. Her voice is so distinct. She must do voiceover and voice acting somewhere. I got to find that out. And it's so exaggerated at the same time. Also, I just want to mention when the thing about the voice, when Livewire actually said to Sai, I can't believe you actually talk like this. That was funny as hell. Because that was the first thing I kept thinking throughout the whole episode. I'm like, gosh, she's so exaggerating. The fact that they actually called it out in the episode was good. Okay. Also, like I said, love this episode. Thought they did a really good job with this episode. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. And I just want to mention, after I had filmed the previous video of episode 10, and I complained about the Valor Mon-El thing of him actually getting the red suit. It's like, I want to see the red suit. I don't want any of these damn freaking X-Men black suits anymore. And there was a CW, when they do the commercials and they show like the CW people just walking around and like going, ooh, hi, I'm from a CW show. They showed it was all online. They showed Mon-El walking down with the red suit. Yes, that's what I want. Red. I want him walking down in his full red Valor superhero suit. And just to see that, and he looked good. He looked really good in that brief scene. So I can't wait until that actually happens on the episode, because we've just never gotten, at least in SuperGirl, that many other people with that superhero type costumes other than her. And I can't wait until that day happens. So that's a big reveal that happened. Also, just keep it bright red. Just don't dim it down. Just keep it bright red. Have him flying around with that Legion ring, even though he doesn't need it in the comic books. Whatever. It's okay. So, what did you guys think of this episode of SuperGirl? Do you like the way it's progressing so far in this season? Like I said, I do. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Are you going to continue watching? If you have any comments about it, let me know. By the way, becoming more of a fan of Rain. I like how they're rounding her out. I was just pissed off at, certain things that happened in that episode. But I like the way they're doing it now. And I can't wait to see the rest of the season. And like I said, any comments or anything like that, post below. If you do want to follow me online, obviously subscribe to my page and everything like that, because I'm going to try to do weekly things of SuperGirl. And up next will be Black Lightning. And like I said, I'm writer-artist Michael S Garner. If you want to check out my online comic book, which is Visions of the New, at visionsofthenew.com, you can see everything there. And like I said, I haven't been able to touch it in a while, but I am working on it so I can release it in a timely manner. And until next time, hope you guys have a good one.